कार्ड కూడా మెడికల్ షాప్ లో కార్యాలయం.
Good morning, all of you.
Morning, good morning.
शाम को मत देना.
Hi, good morning everybody.
Good
మార్నింగ్ సార్.
Good morning, sir. We have a lot of people again joining us today. We have a very interesting topic today. Vivad se Vishwas Tak, including the recent amendments. And we have a very learned speaker, Shri Mahendra Gargia, advocate and a senior practitioner here, a person who is regularly appearing before the High Court, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, and other places. We are very fortunate that we are having the chairman as Shri Manish Borad, a chartered accountant, and the member Income Tax Appellate Tribunal Indore bench. Good, having a excellent, robust knowledge on income tax laws. But friends, before we continue with the proceedings, and we will start again as usual at 10 o'clock sharp, and we have 10 minutes right now. Before we start with the proceedings, let me acknowledge some persons who are very regular and who are coming here daily. Mr. Kaushal from Punjab, who is circulating the information in all places in Punjab and Haryana, and he is a very regular person. Mr. Smith Saurabh, Mr. Vijayakant Mishra, Mr. P.K. Das, again a person who is there always daily, who is even circulating our information in all the professional groups. I would request you all that please circulate our webinar information in all the groups. Then our Joint Secretary, AFTP Central Zone, Mr. Hemant Mode, again a person, he's a very senior to me, a big brother to me, and I always respect him, and a man of immense knowledge, a man who loves travel. He is half of the time outside the country, and circulating and cooperating and giving the information. Mr. Gautam Saklecha from Jodhpur, I think he is joining us almost daily, and there are many other persons. I can say the name. Mr. Amrit Singh Malhotra is joining daily nowadays from Punjab. We have from South, lot of persons from South are joining us in this endeavor. And friends, it is an endeavor that it is a knowledge sharing. I think what I am requesting you today is, please send me on my WhatsApp the other topics you want to get it covered, other queries you want to get it covered. We will be having one day a special session on GST and income tax, wherein we will be taking only the queries. But if you want, if you have some knowledge, if you want particularly some speakers, you want that we should call those speakers, please share their name and contact numbers to me. We'll try to get those speakers. We are trying to get the best of the speakers to you, and because of it, we are having such a good rapport. I am happy to announce that AFTP Central Zone has thought and discussed and decided that the third series of 9-day webinar series will again continue from 2nd May to 10th May at the same time, 10 a.m. with the same ID. So the Zoom would be there, the Zoom ID would be there. 10 o'clock we will be meeting, and daily we will be having an interactive session on the latest topics, enhancing our knowledge. And therefore AFTP is glad to announce the third webinar series in the 9-day webinar series from 2nd to 10th of May. You are all aware that this second webinar series is continuing till 1st of May, and therefore we are announcing the next from 2nd of May. So this would continue. And friends, I would now request our National Vice President Rajesh Ji Mehta to give his opening remarks and welcome all. Rajesh Mehta Ji.
Honorable Accountant Member Manish Borad Sahab, today's speaker महेंद्र गार्गिया जी, पंकज घिया जी, विनय जॉली जी, संदीप अग्रवाल जी, हेमंत मोड़ जी, राजेश जोशी जी, Vijay Navlakha ji, Arvind Mittal ji, A.K. Srivastava ji, and also many of my friends whose name I am not able to take because of shortage of time. I hereby welcome you all who are regularly coming to this grand webinar being organized by Central Zone. I hereby welcome you all. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Rajesh ji. I welcome Shri Manish Borad, our chairman for today's session, a good friend, a learned chairman, member Income Tax Appellate Tribunal Indore Bench, and a wizard on income tax matters. I welcome him, Manish bhai, and I would now request our chairman, Vinay Jolly, chairman Central Zone, AIFTP, to say few words.
Chairman
Vinay.
of today's webinar, our own Shri Manish Borad, member ITAT Indore. Eminent speaker of today's webinar, Shri Mahendra Gargia, advocate from Jaipur. Office bearers and executive members of Jones and National AIFTP. Chief advisor Shri Pankaj Ghia, senior members and professional colleagues. Very good morning. On behalf of the All India Federation of Tax Practitioners Central Zone, and on my personal behalf, from the bottom of my heart, let me express my sincere gratitude towards our own Shri Manish Borad, member ITAT Indore, for accepting our humble invitation and gracing this wonderful occasion by his presence. I welcome today's learned speaker, our own Shri Mahendra Gargia, and am grateful for accepting our invitation. I'm also welcome and thank our participants for their active participations and webinars organized by Central Zone. Thank you. I hand over mic Pankaj ji.
Thank you, Vinay bhai. It's a privilege again to listen to you. And now I would request our Zone Secretary, Mr. Sandeep Agarwal, a young, versatile man, an advocate, a man who is behind all this success, who is working hard in giving you information, giving you YouTube webinars, giving you recorded copies, giving you the links, and making these webinar groups. Friends, I would again request you two things. One, subscribe to our YouTube channel, AIFTP Central Zone. Please link, because all video recordings of the webinars we are doing are uploaded on the YouTube channel and you can watch it. And if we will be live streaming on YouTube very shortly, within 2-3 days, these seminars also. Please, therefore, I request you, please subscribe and like our YouTube channel. And the link of the webinar group on WhatsApp is being shared on the chat mode. Please click on those links, and if you had not joined the webinar WhatsApp group, please join so that we can update you with the information, along with sharing the PPTs and the video recording also on those webinar links. With this, I would now request our Secretary, Mr. Sandeep Agarwal, AIFTP Central Zone Secretary, Mr. Sandeep Agarwal, to say a few words.
Good morning, all of you. First of all, thanks to Pankaj Ghia sir for his compliments. I welcome you all. First of all, I welcome our today's chairman, my elder brother, motivator, Shri Manish Borad ji, honorable member ITAT Indore Bench. And I welcome and thanks to our learned speaker today, Mahendra Gargia ji, our own speaker, very learned, very eminent person. I welcome you all. I am thankful to you all for joining regularly. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandeep bhai. Friends, to start with the proceedings, we are still 2 minutes to 11. We'll start sharp at 11. Again, a brief introduction of today's speaker, Shri Mahendra Gargia. Shri Mahendra Gargia is a advocate practicing on income tax matters, and he is called a wizard or Wikipedia of income tax laws. Anybody can ask any citation, and out of the box he can speak the citation and give you the citation. He is a man of such high caliber, such intelligence. Friends, he is a regular practitioner before the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal and the Rajasthan High Court. He is giving opinions on income tax. He is a person, if you have any query, just dial him and ask him the query. He will not ask you any name. He will not ask you what you what are the things, and he will instantly answer the query. A man of immense intelligence, a man who is always a friend to all. He is always active in the professional activities, a backbone of the AIFTP Central Zone. Mr. Mahendra Gargia is a very versatile speaker, and you will love to hear him today as a speaker on the VSV Vivad Se Vishwas Tak, including he is covering the latest amendments in the said schemes. Our chairman, Shri Manish Borat, a good friend, a person who has a deep knowledge of income tax laws, a person who is a wizard, I will always say, on income tax laws, an affable, a lovable, and always available for friends. A person who loves travel, who loves sharing his ideas, a photographer, and also a good singer. This is not a platform where we could have asked him to sing, but whenever an opportunity would arise, I can say he is a wonderful singer. I had been associated with him since, I don't know, since in birth time, but you see, we are fortunate that we have our chairman today who is such intelligent, such a versatile man, and I welcome you, Manish Bhai, to this webinar series on the income tax topic. And straight coming to the point, I would now hand over and request our chairman of today's session, Shri Manish Boradji, to start the proceedings and take over the proceedings. Shri Manish Borad sir.
Thank you, Pankaj ji. I think I'm audible, clearly audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible, clear.
Yeah. So first of all, hats off to your energy level and the way you are conducting the seminar, this web seminars. It's all in the round 1, 2, and now 3 is also coming up. And certainly this all planning is through the leader, that is the president of AIFTP. But certainly all the office bearers of the zones and especially your efforts are like an inspiration. And in these changed circumstances after this pandemic, the way AIFTP has recharged itself and used the technique of the today's time in such a quick manner and reaching to all the parts of the country and making all the tax professionals feel as if they are still in the same work and they are getting ready to come up. The moment these circumstances gets free up, they will be ready to work with full of knowledge. And my association with All India Federation is, I think it's almost 2 decades, and it's always a pleasure. And whenever I get a chance to make myself associated with the AIFTP, I feel pleasure. The quality of speakers, the team efforts, the way everybody appreciates each other's work, either it's a senior or junior, everybody, it's like a family. The family grows bigger, but still the love remains the same. That's the glory of AIFTP. So first of all, I thank again to AIFTP to give me this moment. Today's topic, Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. A very good scheme, which came through Union Budget 2020. Then it took some time with some hiccups. The bill was passed. Then there were lots of queries coming up to include many more things and clarifications were required. Then in March, one circular came. Then the latest one of April came. Friends, what I perceive that since 2014, the present regime, that's the government, it's in the process to clean up the matters. Means they are having this vision that whatever time we can curtail from unnecessary litigations and use the time of the department as well as of the businessmen for a proper work, for a more strategically development of the country. That's why we are seeing that since there was the first tax effect circular came in 2014, then 15, then 18, then 19, and the limits were increased drastically. Certainly, a lot of litigations came to an end. And there were other tax samadhan scheme for direct tax and indirect taxes. But this scheme, Vivad Se Vishwas, is something I can say the king of all schemes. If you can see that normally in the tax litigations, the assessee is mostly disturbed or feel a little helpless because of the interest and penalty matters. Normally 148 matters, for example, we take, it comes in the last moment, 6 years khatam hone ek din pehle pahunchta hai, then the assessment starts. And by the time you go before CIT appeals, almost 9 years have passed. And even if an SSC wants to pay the taxes, but he is helpless because the quantity, the amount of interest and penalty soars up so high that he has to keep up to fight the case to win it by at all levels. And government at this level has thought very proper that for a lot of litigations, the SSCs are being disturbed they feel little disturbed at their business plans, their taxation, their heavy penalties, interest, and somehow then their focus is not on their business. Sometimes it's more onto these litigations. So to cope up with all situations, this scheme has been planned, and certainly there were some clarifications needed. But by the time these two circulars have come up, many things have now been cleared up. And government also wants that more and more people should come up and utilize this scheme. We as like you all as the professionals, certainly there is one part that one you can say demerit, that sometimes you feel that your cases will be finished or litigation will no more be required. Those who are fighting the cases from appellate levels and high courts and Supreme Courts, honorable Supreme Courts, they may feel, but one have to take a larger interest. Larger interest is for the country and for the assessees who went upon to their counsels to give them their right advice. So in all those cases where the litigations are not that when you feel that the chances of winning are too less, or the cost of fighting the departmental revenues in the future is also too high, you should all come ahead and see that in whatever way, if the case of your assessees falls in the scheme, try to make them understand and use this scheme, because if the litigations are 20 years, 30 years, 40 years old, and if you get a chance, I have seen myself that for a small tax demand of 4 to 5 lakh rupees, the interest burden was 15, 16 lakh rupees of those assessees. You can imagine the turmoil they were passing through. So this is the right time, and it's a situation that in this slowdown process, when everything is at halt, you have got a right time to assist your clients to come up with and clear up all their pending litigations, make their matters free and fine, come with a motivated mind, and work ahead for the country as a whole. Certainly, there are many parts of the scheme which Mr. Mahendra Gargia, who is a very eminent speaker and is a very knowledgeable person, I know him for last many years. And certainly the scheme has been read again and again by many of you also. But the latest circular of 22nd April is really very important. And they have touched upon many areas. Like one of the one was that prosecution matters. If it has not been instituted, the prosecution has not been instituted, and still you can go ahead and use the scheme. And at the level of tribunal also, before a few weeks, our Honorable President also had a Zoom meeting, and we also had the CBDT chairman and other officers of the department being part of that. And a lot of discussions were made, and stakeholders, that is many of the lawyers, consultants from across India, who are also present in the meeting, they also gave some suggestions. See, anyhow, the suggestions will keep on coming. Like one of them was very interesting, that in case there is an issue, suppose it's a matter of depreciation rate, you have charged a higher rate of depreciation. Department says you are eligible for lower rate of depreciation. Now, even if now suppose for that year you accept come into scheme, but there are 3 or 4 years which are going to be reopened, or they are going to be again assessed with the lower rate of depreciation. So the assessee wants that I should get immunity from all those years also. I can pay the taxes for those years also. And I think those matters are still not included in this scheme. And similarly, the matters of demonetizations also, there are some discussions going on. And but whatever situation as of today is, you should take the best utilization of it. Mr. Mahendra Gargia will give elaboration on the various facets of this scheme, either it's search matters or normal matters. And I wish you, all of you, that you should try and see the cases. You have sufficient time, also 15 days you will get before you get the department officer's final report. In 15 days will be more again with you to pay the taxes. It is not that you have to just pay the taxes immediately. So you'll have sufficient time to see your case. And once you find it to be fit and fine, you should go ahead It's for the betterment of the clients also and for the country also. And at this juncture, we find that this scheme can be really helpful for everybody. So now I hand over to Mr. Pankaj Ghia and Mr. Mahendra Gargia. Thank you all the office bearers of AFTP to give me this opportunity to share my ideas with you. Thank you very much. Pankaj, your mic is not if you unmute it.
Thank you, Manish ji. It was a wonderful hearing our chairman of the session, Shri Manish Borot sir, member Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, Indore bench, and we are always benefited by his intelligence, by his impromptu speech, and by his words of wisdom. Now, taking no more time, I would now directly request the speaker of today, Shri Mahendra Gargia, again a man of high intelligence. Mahendra bhai, you have to unmute your mic. Yes, a man of high intelligence, a prolific speaker, a good friend, and always available to all the tax professionals. And before that, let me say my standard words. Good morning, India. For this, because we are joined by East, West, North, South, Central. So it is India which is there on this webinar, and we are almost at 500 mark again. And with this, Mahendra bhai, I welcome you all on behalf of All India Federation of Tax Practitioners and request you to continue the deliberations. Thank you. The speaker, Mr. Mahendra Gargia.
A very good morning to all of you. And as Pankaj bhai said, I also wish a good morning, India. Honorable Accountant Member, Indore Bench of Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, our own Manish Borot, Pankaj bhai, the force behind this idea of conducting successful conduct of the seminar, webinar. He has spoken so many nice words for me, for which I really do not deserve. I can see the dignitaries of the All India Federation, Shri Rajesh Mehta ji, Vice President, Sim Birla ji, V.K. Jolly ji, the Chairman, Sandeep Agrawal ji, and friends. Now, man by nature is a peace-loving person, and so do the taxpayer and a weak tax consultant who would like dispute, and particularly a tax dispute. And when it comes to a tax dispute, eyebrows raised. So far as the payment of tax and interest is concerned, it's okay. But when it comes to the payment of the, say it is a matter of penalty, it becomes serious. And it becomes all the more serious when the prosecution notice knocks at your doorstep. And we have witnessed flood of show cause notices launching prosecution in the past. Now this situation, together with the epidemic COVID-19, I see an opportunity being provided to the taxpayer in the sense that the taxpayer immediately after opening up this lockdown would like to focus more on his earning of livelihood to try to bring back normalcy, and he would not like to get entangled with the vexatious litigation. And when the horrible scene of prosecution notices is there, hanging was over his head. At the same time, the government also has got an opportunity to encash. And particularly when the government has set up a huge target for it, for a collection of a huge amount of 2 lakh crore. So that goes to show the seriousness the government is having to get a success in the scheme. But then to ensure that success, to have the vishwas or faith of the taxpayer in the government, so that this vivad can be reached to vishwas, it certainly requires clarity. it requires a hassle-free implementation of the scheme. But as we'll go further in my deliberation, we'll see that still there are many gray areas. Although, as Manish ji has referred to the earlier CBDT circular, 55 question answer were there, followed by a recent one. I will be touching upon that. But still there are so many gray areas. So that requires a serious consideration on the part of the CBDT. Now today we are here to discuss such type of issues, controversies which are coming in the way and creating obstacle in the success of the scheme. And the professional bodies like All India Federation is playing an important role to work like a to act like a link between the central government on the one hand and the taxpayers on the other. Now coming to the scheme, and I'm sharing my PPT now. I hope all of you are able to see it. Why this scheme? Why this dispute resolution scheme? So we have already discussed. As many as 4.83 lakhs cases are pending today, as the Honorable Finance Minister has noticed. The last scheme was pronounced, if I'm not wrong, in 2016, dispute resolution scheme. So this initiative of the government in the present scenario is certainly laudable. It is a sort of alternative dispute resolution system area. It will help the taxpayer to buy peace and to avoid litigation and to focus more on their business, which is the need of the hour. And I said out of 9.32 lakh crores are stuck up. Government has set up a target to recover so 2 lakh. And now amidst this COVID, which has challenged, put a challenge upon the government, it has become all the more necessary for the government to reach this target. This certainly shall save time and energy from Buddha side because we are entangled in vexatious litigation. Now, well, friends, I'll take you to the journey so far, the timeline. On 1st of February 2020, Honorable Finance Minister proposed and to introduce a scheme in para 126 of her speech. This was followed on 5th of February when the bill was formally presented before the Parliament. The Cabinet approved certain amendments with a view to bring more clarity on 12th of February 2020. On 4th of March, this bill was passed, became the act. Then a CBDT circular in the form of FAQ came into picture on the 4th of March 2020. It comprises of 55 questions and answers. And 13th March 20, the bill received the note from the Rajya Sabha. And then it received the assent of the President on 17th March 2020 when the VSP bill became the act and came into force. On 18th March 20, the VSP rules and forms were notified. Thereafter, the government, amidst this COVID-19 and to meet with the challenge to provide relaxation, brought in taxation and other laws relaxation of certain provisions ordinance 2020 on 31st March. So with that, they have extended the time limits to file declaration and to make payment in the scheme, which was either to 31st March 20 to now 30th June 20. Now friends, before coming to the different aspect and before coming to the nuances of the scheme, coming to the various definitions, I think it is better than we should have in mind, bear in mind some basics or say fundas, which I hope will help the person taking a decision, understanding the scheme, and that may all resolve the queries coming to his mind. Firstly, the dispute settlement in the scheme is with reference to one appeal and not with an assessment year. There may be in one assessment year, say 15, 16, the assessee may be in appeal and the department may be in appeal. These are two appeals. Now the assessee has got in liberty. He has to decide He may get both the appeals settled, he may get one appeal settled, his own or the department, whatever he's like. Sometimes there are more than 2 appeals because the reassessment has also might have been completed and assessee might be in appeal. So it is a settlement of one appeal. As a whole, it is to be looked into. All the issues arising in the appeal taken by the assessee and disputed therein, they have to be settled in one go and no pick and choose. I will be further taking that aspect in later. Second is this cutoff date is very important when the appeals are pending, 31st January 20. Together with, except some of the cases of deemed appeal when time limit to file the appeal is there. So that we have to keep in mind, we'll discuss in the later part. And then the order appealed against or the dispute towards which we are thinking of going to opt the VSV, that should be capable of determination of the tax. So I think these points are to be taken into mind. Now, well, friends, coming to the important definitions, the first is the appeal pending. So that is the starter point. Unless dispute is there can't be any resolution and no scheme is there. Now, section 2(1)(a) has defined who is an appellant and who is the person eligible to be covered by the scheme. So in the case of a person where an appeal is pending, when assessed against it may be against the assessment order, it may be against the order of the CIT appeal or against the order of the tribunal or the High Court and so on. So if that is pending on the cutoff date, that is the specified date defined under 219, 31st January 20, that is very important and appeal should remain pending on that date. There is a relaxation now provided in the amended Bill and Act then that a deemed category of appeal is also there. That in case you wanted to file an appeal against the order of the assessing officer before the CIT appeal but could not file and time is still available of 30 days. Similarly, against the order of the CIT appeal, you want to go to the wanted or wants to go to the ITT. And time to file appeal of 60 days is still available on 31st January 20. And so on, then you are an eligible assessee. Some of the matters or orders passed, say, for example, order passed by the Commission under 263 is not covered. I will be taking to that aspect later. Then dispute resolution panel, when objection has been filed under 144C of the Act, but the panel has not issued any direction, or where direction though has been issued under 144 subsection 5, but has not passed any order. AO has not passed the consequent order under subsection 13, and they are pending on the cutoff date, then they are eligible. One category of revision application has also been covered when the assessee not having filed or having failed to file whatever regular appeal before the appellate forum. He has filed a revision application on and that is remaining pending on 31st January 20. That category is also covered under this. The next important aspect are certain definitions, which are the backbone of the entire scheme in the Act, is the disputed tax. Now, disputed tax is the tax, surcharge, and cess. Under section 2(1)(j), it has been defined, and but it does not include interest and penalty, because the moment you get your tax matter, your quantum matter settled, your disputed income is settled and disputed, then it is only the disputed tax you are required to pay. But the interest and penalty will be getting immunity under section 6. Now, what is the amount of that tax payable? That amount of tax payable under 2(1)(j) has been further elaborated and defined. In the cases where appeal is pending, then assuming that that is going to be decided against you, the entire that tax part is payable. In a case where deemed appeal is there, order is passed and appeal is yet to be filed, then after giving effect to that order, what would be the amount of tax that is relevant? Some other cases like 144C, 264, 251, the subject matter, the income subjected to these proceedings and the disputed tax in relation to such disputed income will be the tax payable. In certain categories where there is say unabsorbed losses and depreciation, then again the subjected amount involved. Now, disputed interest is another category when you can opt for VSV. 2(1)(h) defines. Now, it is the interest, not, it is important to be understood. The interest which is eligible is not charged or chargeable on the disputed tax. and the appeal has been filed by the appellant. So in other words, it should not be the interest which relate to the disputed income. For the obvious reason that if it relate to the disputed income and you are already there against the quantum addition in appeal, so settlement thereof will automatically lead to the settlement of the interest and the penalty. So that way, section 201 interest, 206C, etc., they will come into picture and you can opt for that. But then 234 ABC like interest can also be challenged, provided you are not there disputing the quantum appeal. If there is no disputed tax, then of course, and you are only in appeal against the levy of the interest, you completely denies liability of charging of interest, then you may opt for ready. And similar somewhat will be the situation of the disputed penalty under section 21I. The penalty should not relate to, not levied or leviable in relation to disputed tax, and appeal has been filed. So that way it is section 271 capital B, 271 capital D, 271 capital and so on. And again, if a penalty of concealment and 270A or 271C can also be can be taken to the VSV, provided the disputed tax is not, there is not, it does not relate to disputed tax, or we have not disputed the quantum additions. Then we see disputed fees under 21F, that is 234E and F. Now, well, friends, though we all know, I'm trying to just rushing fast for a recapitulation. All of us, I hope, must have gone through the scheme so far. Now, the amount of tax payable will the table is given, and I would not say touch upon this. You may refer it to this, but the date only changes that when the earlier there were two categories, that is 31st March, and then further if you fail, then with 10% additional, you could have made payment by 30th June. Now, with the taxation laws amendment, it has been extended to 30th June. And after 1st of July onward, the next date, that is yet to be notified. Presently, we have only one category of the amount of tax payable. Together with Rule 11 may be referred, which also gives the idea how to compute the tax payable. Now, the process, I would be touching, touching these procedural aspect first, and then we'll go to the controversies. The first step is that the declarant has to file a Form 1 under Section 4.1 along with Form number 2, which is an undertaking, and for waiving his right. Undertaking means that he is agreeable to waive his all right and remedies available in the law once he has opted for the scheme. Then within a period of 15 days from the date of the receipt of the declaration, the designated authority shall issue a Form 3, that will be a certificate sort, certifying the amount which is to be payable by the declarant as a full and final settlement under Section 5. Then within next 15 days from the date of the receipt of the said certificate by the designated authority, the declarant is required to make the payment of the amount determined, which is full and final, and that is conclusive even, cannot be challenged. I'll deal with that aspect later. And if he fails, then the consequence is that under Section 4, subsection 6, it will be deemed that no declaration having been filed. And then lastly, this then pursuant to the making of the payment, the declarant is required to file Form 4, and will intimate the payment along with the proof of withdrawal of appeal that it has been withdrawn before the Honorable ITAT and before the Honorable High Court. So far as withdrawal relate to the appeal of before the Honorable ITAT is concerned, once declaration is filed and a certificate under 5.1, that determination of tax is issued, then that will automatically lead to a withdrawal appeal before the Honorable ITAT. But so far as Honorable withdrawal appeal before Honorable High Court is concerned, then we will have to move an application before the Honorable Court, and copy thereof has to be then given to the designated authority. Now, this brings us to the last and concluding step, that after furnishing of Form 4, the designated authority is then required to pass an order in Form 5 for full and final settlement. Yes, I do. Further, the department is barred from instituting any, this is the immunity part. The department is barred. Department, the designated authority is barred to proceed for any prosecution, to impose any penalty or levy any interest. And the certificate under 5.1 shall be conclusive so as to the matters stated therein. And the further consequence will be that once you have settled, that does not mean an admission on your part. That is very important to understand, that by opting for VSB in a particular appeal, that does not mean an admission or acquiescence on your part. The other side cannot be permitted to say that once you have agreed to and went into settlement, it means you have agreed to. You may remember a similar situation arises in the law tax effect matters when the department has to withdraw the appeal because of these circulars. The provision 268 itself provides a situation that it will not be treated to be a concession, admission, acquiescence on the part of the department. Next screen. Now, well, friends, with this, let me discuss with some of the issues, the gray areas which are arising. I tried to prepare some of the issues. Now, before I say that these are the issues, what I mean is that firstly, there are certain points which I wanted to bring to your notice, though truly speaking, they may not be in the nature of the dispute. And secondly, there are the issues which initially cropped up in my mind, say like the pendency of the appeal. I'll discuss it, but then later it was favorably decided by the CBDT, and for your knowledge, I would be covering those aspects also. And thirdly, the issues which are still there, gray areas which they need to be addressed adequately by the CBDT so as to avoid any further chance, because the theme of the scheme is Vivad se Vishwas. So let there be complete clarity, and let there be no further chance of there being Vivad even in the very understanding, interpretation and implementation of the scheme. So there may be many more issues would be covering up. Now, the CBDT, of course, came up with a circular in March consisting of 55 questions, yet it was not sufficient to cover up, and we were eagerly awaiting of the further clarifications. And when on 20th day before yesterday, when the next circular number 9 2020 came, but it was nothing but a more or less a reproduction of those earlier 55 questions only, and the purpose of the government was only that earlier circular
वॉइस कैसे बंद होगी? Mahendra ji, are you able to speak? Mahendra ji, I think इसको ओपन करना.
हाँ,
राजेश जी इनकी वॉइस आ रही है क्या?
नहीं आ रही सर, वो कहीं हैंग हो गया उनका सर.
I think there is a little bit problem. I'm just please hold on for a second. I am trying to contact Mahendra ji. कोई दिक्कत आ रही है? हाँ. Okay. There were some power issues, friends, and he is trying to be connected through his mobile very shortly, and we'll again have a start.
सर पंकज जी कोई बात नहीं, एक दो मिनट चर्चा मैं कर लेता हूँ जब तक जी इस पे.
हाँ, महेंद्र जी, आर यू देयर?
हाँ, हेलो महेंद्र जी, आगे.
महेंद्र जी,
हाँ, I am here, sir.
Yes, continue, sir.
Continue, Mahendra ji. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
No, continue.
So I was referring to the CBDT circular, and CBDT circular, except in this question number 22 relating to prosecution, has made no change broadly. But those who are interested, I may just point out that you may note down question number 8, 20, 22, 26, 31 and 34 hours question, where there are some slight changes mainly related to drafting. Now with that friend, ये screen थोड़ा चलाना भाई. I'm sorry for the interruption, sir. Yes, now coming to the various issues which have cropped up and are required, and some of the points, as I told you, to bring to your kind notice, that this settlement is only under Income Tax Act, so it does not include the dispute relating to VAT, commercial transaction tax, equalization levy, etc. And you may refer Article 18. Pending waiver applications, they are also not covered under, which are under Section 270A, whether pending or decided. But then if there is a challenge before the Honorable High Court, yes, of course, it may be possible. Similarly, the ruling given by the Advanced Authority AR is not eligible for dispute again, but if it is under challenge before the High Court, then FAQ 3 support us. Then FAQ 60 has also provided that a draft order passed under Section 144C, that is where the assessee did not file objection, he can opt for this. Now this is 264. I just for your just to bring to your notice that when there is an intimation and assessee wants to file a 264, and if it is pending, then VSB of course is available. A category is there, but there has been a controversy whether intimation is an order or not. But some of the Honorable High Courts have held that it is an order and fit to be taken to 264. Now, issue was there earlier, as I said, that when an appeal has been filed before the Honorable High Court and the filing is there, but on the cutoff date, the admission is pending. So, question came to my mind: what one really mean pending? Pending means list pendants. So, I thought that unless the appeal is admitted, or say a lower court has taken cognizance, a substantial question under 260 capital A is admitted, we cannot say it is a pending litigation. But then thanks to the CVDT, which has supported us, but question answer number 24, they say that even if it is not admitted, you can opt for the scheme. Now, in the cases where the appeal has been filed late without a prayer for condonation, there may be different situations. One is that appeal has been filed though late, but that is pending on 31st January 20 with a prayer of condonation. The delay has not yet been condoned by the appellate form, say the Honorable, the learned CITPL or Honorable ITAT. And second is when it has been filed and the condonation has been, the delay has been condoned after 31st January 20. So here I would like to draw your attention to some case laws. And the Honorable Gujarat High Court in the case of Digvijay Singh Jadeja, this decision has been affirmed since then by the Honorable Supreme Court, and they have referred to earlier decision of Honorable Supreme Court in Raja Kulkarni and Renuka Datla, and what they have held is that the word appeal pending would mean that an appeal should be pending and that there was no need to introduce qualifications that it should be valid or competent. The Gujarat High Court also held the revision application as pending even before the condonation of the delay. So, to my humble understanding, any matter where appeal is pending and condonation is also pending, the condonation is decided after the cutoff date, then it should qualify for the obviously. But a situation where the appeal has been filed late and there is no condonation even filed, then there may be a problem perhaps. Now, this will hold good for the departmental appeal also, because there may be a situation where the department has gone or might have gone against the relief granted by the CIT appeal. Now, again, moving further, these items of 234, interest charge under 234 B, C, A, I have already discussed that they are also capable of taking to the VSB, provided there is no dispute against the quantum. Then you can file a separate appeal. You may come separately against that. For the completeness, then what happens that if you refer to the list of the appellate order under section 246 capital A, you may not find the chargeability of the interest and these provision as an appealable order. So that created as confusion. But then the law is well settled and long back by the celebrated decision of the Supreme Court in Central Province Magazine, they have held that when there is a complete denial of the liability of being assessed, then you can of course take up this issue. You can file an appeal. The penalties I have already discussed that 270E, because if they are not in relation to disputed tax, appeals can be filed. One can get the pending appeal settled under VSB. Now, further dispute is with the deemed category of the appeal. That is under section 21A second, where you have got sufficient time to go to further appellate authority, say against the order of the CIT appeal to ITAT, or when from against the order from ITAT to the. Now, the literal meaning which come to our mind is the situations provided are when an order has been passed by the AO or passed by the CIT appeal or by the IT appeal and time is available, they are the deemed category of appeal. And similarly, when the Honorable High Court has passed an order in a writ, so it does not say that an order has been passed by the Honorable High Court in an appeal. So whether you can it is a deemed category of appeal or not. So to my understanding, it appears to be a drafting error, and along with the word writ, the appeal should also be included. Now, similarly, as I stated earlier, that there is no reference of the order passed by the CIT. What it says, the deemed category says the order passed by the AO or the appellate forum, but not by the CIT under section 263. There may be a situation that one may have to file an appeal against the order under section 263. Time is available, so that whether it will be covered under the category of deemed appeal or not, that is not. Various issues are relating to the set-aside matters. Now, one may be a situation where only one issue is involved and the same has been restored by the Honorable ITAT to the AO for fresh examination on that issue involved. Then, assuming that that is going to be decided against the SSC, entire amount has to be paid and by obtaining VSB. If there are then say 2 or 3 issues are involved, and one of them is set aside to the AO, other is decided against the SSC, then of course one may go opt for VSB, but by making payment of the disputed tax relating to both the issues, that is one decided against the SSC because you are not either you are not gone it or appeal time is pending, or secondly, assuming the issue set aside sent back to the AO, that is going to be decided against you. The power to set aside, as we all know, has been snatched from the CIT. He cannot remedy the matter back. Third category may be where the appellate authority has annulled or quashed order on say legal ground and whatever. But there and they directed the AO to pass a fresh assessment order. So here we may refer to question number 7. These reference to all FAQs are of the revised CBGT, which please note. They are the same number. Number are the same of the whether earlier or the revised circular. So they say no, one cannot go to the fresh assessment in this situation where it has been sent to the AO to be framed no. This is for the probable reason, perhaps to my mind, that determination of the tax liability is not may not be ascertainable, though it is not the case when we when we see that a particular item, say disallowance of commission, has been remitted back by the Honorable ITAT to the AO for fresh examination, that can be computed. But we will come across some similar type of situation when determination of tax is not possible. And our experience in the past shows that as and when the matters are put back to the file of the AO, the fate of such matter is always the same. We again see the same additions being repeated. So this category, I think, should also be included to widen the scope by the CBT. So 254.2, that is yet another aspect. And then there may be a situation that you file an appeal before the Honorable ITAT. the appeal stood decided prior to the date. In other words, there is no appeal pending on 31st January 20. The MA file came to be decided thereafter, say on 5th of February 20. Whether such an assessee is eligible. To my humble opinion, he may opt for the reason that if the Honorable ITT has recalled its order, even though later to a cut-off date, it will relate back to the date of the filing of the appeal. Now, recalling of the order, there may be two types of situations. One is the ITT, where the ITT has dismissed it for default in absence of the appellant or respondent. Then you have made a prayer under 254.2 to get recalled, and Rule 24 and 25 of ITT rules here. Second situation may be there when some of the issue you have a grievance and some apparent error mistake is there within the scope of 252. In both the situation when the order is there by the Honorable ITT recalling its earlier order fully or to that extent, then we can say yes on the cutoff date that appeal is pending. Now another aspect is that where a notice under section 148 has been issued and a writ has been filed before the Honorable High Court, we all know that no appeal has been provided against the very issuance of a notice only under 148. But then only remedies to approach the Honorable High Court under Article 226 Calcutta Discount 38 is there. So in that situation, what we do, whether we can opt or not. And a somewhat similar situation may always when a notice under 153 capital A is there, and that you are chilling before the Honorable High Court. But here, you may refer to the revised FAQ number 12 and 13, and a negative answer is there because the final order has not been passed, and since perhaps the determination of the tax is not possible in these matters, therefore we cannot opt for VSV in these matters. Again, this aspect of issuing notice. Now we all know that in the originally brought.
The last 5 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Then I have to rush very fast.
You have to go fast, yes.
Okay, yes, sir. So 263 category, I'll skip it is there because it might take time. I'll jump to the next. This is very important. Consequential effect of settlement. Now, you must have come across various situations that an issue is decided or issue is settled. One issue is settled, then what will be the implication of that settlement on the other issues? If settlement in the case of one assessment year, what will the implication in other assessment year? Or sometime when in the case of one assessee issue is settled, then consequential relief will be given to the other assessee or not. Now, you may refer for this situation, question number 31, 32, 35. 31 deal with the tedious matter, and so 32 also. 35 on substantive protective additions have been made. Now, in 31, they said that if 201 is settled, then 40I will go automatically. I have extended further that what about 271C penalty, because that is also a related matter and consequential and depend upon the issue of TDS under 201. I hope it should be covered. CBDT may come out with a clarification. Again, substantive protective addition, the board has favorably answered under 35, saying that where substantive addition has been made in one person and the protective other, and this substantive addition has been settled, then the protective will go, and they also directed the AO to pass rectificatory order. But then what if there is a reverse process? If the protective get it settled, then what about the substantive? So that is to be made clear. And when then more than 2 persons are there, I have covered up in my this PPT. Higher valuation of closing stock, we all know if closing stock is valued higher in this 14-15, automatically the opening stock should be increased, and there are several decisions, and celebrated amongst them is Mahindra Milby Desai. So it says even in the context of VG Oil, they say that 154 also is eligible. So there should be clarity. The FAQ and the scheme does not speak anything. Similarly, 271D penalty. If addition has been made on account of the cash on under section 68, on the other hand, 271D is also there. Now 68 addition is get settled. Whether it will also provide you a relief under 270? If yes, then how and in what manner? Board clarifications are required. Rectification has been passed, reducing the income or enhancing the income. Yes, the board has said that you have to give effect to the order if already passed FAQ 25, because kindly see the language of 21J dispute tax is the tax has to be computed under the provisions of the Act. So we have to correctly assess the income, correctly compute the tax thereon. Now it may be a case whether the 154 is passed or is 154 pending, because I have also visualized a situation where 154 has been filed but it is still pending. But to my humble submission, such cases, and that it is decided say after 31st 20, but then also I think the effect has to be given, more particularly when the designated authority has also been given a power to amend his order. FAQ 46, 47 are important for that aspect. Some issues are regarding the amount paid by the declarant. Now, where there is decision by the Honorable Supreme Court, FAQ 36 says yes, issues fully covered. Now, there are two categories in section 3, second and third proviso. Second and third proviso says when appeal, second it says appeal is pending before the CIT appeal and you are before the ITAT, or when ITAT, you are before ITAT and you are before the High Court. There is an ITAT decision which is in your favor and that remains unreversed by the High Court or Supreme Court. Then the tax payable will be 50%, means 50% concession is there. Certain issues are arising from this are that in a case where the appeal is pending before ITAT and assessee says in the earlier year or later year they get another order in my favor, but by the ITAT, and now what is about that? The Act rule, everything is silent on that aspect. Now on cutoff date 31st January they should remain, or by the time the designated authority certified under section 5 on the amount payable, if the ITAT order get reversed, what will the amount taxable? 50% concession will they or not? To my mind, that would be taken back, because on the day when he's certifying on the 5-1, he'll have to take into account the latest position. Then, yes, regarding immunity aspect, section 5.3 says that the amount is conclusive, final, and no matter is stated therein, the department would not be able to reopen it. Section 6 grants immunity by the designated authority. The language drafting says that it is the designated authority who will not institute, proceed, or levy penalty. The EO impose penalty, interest also, so some clarification is required. Now the final certificate issued by the DA under section 5 determining the amount. No, I'm sorry. The next matter was when you have reached a settlement through the scheme, whether later on the department can reopen under 147 based on the audit of fiction, facts, material, or not. Now here, to my mind, the department can do so provided we are able to satisfy him that but in any case, we are able to satisfy that, look, what you have taken up under 147 is the same matter which was there in the scheme, or the matter now raised under 147 proceeding is the same which was earlier already there. You cannot say so, because such a language is that the finality or conclusiveness is only as to the matter stated therein, and no matters covered by it shall be reopened in any proceeding. But in a case where department is able to lay a hand on some other income altogether, and which is not covered or subject, which has not been subject matter of the VSB, then of course their right to take up the matter 147. I have quoted a Jodhpur bench decision in the context of the earlier similar schemes, which you may please go through. Exclusions. Section 9 has provided certain categories from, say, 5 clauses are there. Some issues are there relating to prosecution, as well. Manish has also referred to. Section 25 is amended. Now, what is clarified is, it was already there that mere issuance of a prosecution notice is there by the authority. So that will not disentitle an assessee to offer VSC. That was already there, but what has now added, that if before the filing of the declaration, if the assessee comes up and get the matter compounded, then prosecution, then the such assessee will also be held eligible to offer VSV. Now here one question say arises, is what one really mean prosecution instituted, whether it is a mere filing or it is a matter where cognizance can be taken. Say for example on 17 January 20, a complaint was filed by the Department of Economic Offence Code. On 21st January 20, declaration was filed, but the Economic Offence Code took cognizance 25th of January 20 whether such an assessee is eligible or not. To my mind, he should be, and we may make a reference to this decision of Honorable Supreme Court in Jamna Singh, that institution should always relate and mean to the date when the Honorable Court has taken cognizance, and mere paper filing of the complaint will not do. So in the given example where on 20 January, he has already filed the declaration prior to, on 25th January, prior to taking of the cognizance by the court, I think taking support from this, he should be held eligible. Now, 9B2E, I just wanted to bring your notice that there are two categories of prosecution so far as income tax is concerned. One is Section 9B, Romans 2, when prosecution has been launched, and we have just discussed. Yet another category is there in, say, in one of the clauses of Section 9, where under IPC, IT authorities have launched prosecution. Bear in mind that here, so as exclusion relating to such matters are concerned, they speak of the demand relating to one particular year, and disability is reference to that year. Here, the disability is reference to any person. So, if prosecution has been launched, instituted, in case of a person relating to any year, he will be completely disqualified under these clauses. Relating to such matter and 5 crore limited, firstly that it is somewhere in my PPT, I'm missing it. But then one is that it is the direct tax only. Just one, 2, 4, 5 minutes or maybe given, I'll try to complete it.
2 minutes, please.
Now this for the purpose. Thanks. 5 crore, it is only direct tax. There is tax only, no interest penalty included. Secondly, it has to be seen year-wise, this limit. And supposing there is a case of penalty under Section 271AA(b), say more or less, but the penalty will not cover so far as this limitation aspect under Section 9, one small a, this will not come in the way because BT does not include penalty. Now I raised the query when cash has been seized, whether the assessee can claim the adjustment when the declared amount is certified under 5(1). Amount is seized, lying with them, there is a finality. So to my mind, why there is an existing liability, the assessee should be permitted. And similar question may arise when in 1 year there is a refund in one settlement, other there is a tax payable, whether there is an adjustment, scheme is silent, clarifications are required. Then there are maybe situation assessee is not able to make the payment because of financial difficulties. The only remedy is to rush to the Honorable High Court to certify them under Article 226. Some cases are there. I have cited in my write-up. Now, lastly, decision making. Now we have to decide whether we have to go or not. There are certain criteria, certain factors which I have just noted down that we have to take into account. Say, we have to see how strong we are on merit, whether decision of the Jurisdiction High Court and not remaining reversed by the Supreme Court, or else it has, or in that manner it has attained a finality. We may think of this. We have to see the mathematical calculations and we have to make a comparison between the cost which assesses to bear when going out for settlement, or it doesn't do so, or he proceed to file an appeal. Because normally in the very old matters, when 140 proceedings are there is a huge amount of say interest liability, and if there is a doubt on the merit, then one may think of better opting for VSV. One important aspect is that when there is some doubt or some confusion whether we should opt or not opt, I would say that we may try opting VSV for the simple reason that in the worst situation, say there is a doubt whether I'm eligible or not, but I would suggest then you go for that, because Section 4, subsection 6 provides that the moment because of certain disqualifications, your declaration deemed to not have been filed, then the proceedings at that stage which are pending, they will get revived. So if you are doubtful whether I am eligible or not, you try it. At the worst, you will reject it, then still you are at the same. I was discussing these criteria for taking a decision. Other is the penalty prosecution, very important. You have to look into the nature of the addition, whether it is a mere estimation or it is something which, because sort of prosecution is handing, that is something very, very serious. And I remember that these Honorable Supreme Court has upheld the prosecution matters in the cases of TDS even when there is a default. Departmental appeal, there may be a situation where there are heavy stakes in the departmental appeal and you are also in a smaller stake with the cross appeal. So you may think of not going and fighting the appeal. Sometimes the departmental appeal, because departmental appeal you will have to pay 50% only. Sometimes there may be a situation that the department is in appeal but it is covered by the law tax effect circular, then you may think of accordingly. Cost of litigation, of course, yes, yet another aspect to be considered. The expected time is in addition there to how long will be the journey right from you to the Supreme Court or then sometimes you have already made heavy tax payment in the COVID era period when you think that heavy tax payment has already been made. It is better to opt for the BSV so that we'll be getting refund and at least we will have not make payment of cash because of the liquidity these days. So that is also relevant. So well friends, I'm sorry I have been a little bit fast. And I hope Pankaj Bhai will agree. I have been able to cover it. Though I have in my PPT covered.
You are fabulous, sir. You are fabulous.
Two things I am not covered. I may just bring to your notice. One is that the relating to the uploading of the form, because there have been many technical glitches and issues are there, but it is premature. And the time to come, the board may clarify. The secondly is the nicety of the mathematical computation aspect of the scheme. That is also was not of the hour. Therefore, I am not touched upon those issues. Now they are welcome. If any of carries doubt and certain doubts in the mind of the audience, they are all welcome. My mobile number and this mail IDs. I would love to answer them. With this, I thank you all for a very patient hearing because you are otherwise you are obliged to keep a silence. Leonard, my brother Pankaj Bhai has muted you. Also, I had the benefit of a patient hearing. And I am thankful to the All India Federation for giving me a chance to interact with you. And lastly, heads off to Pankaj Bhai. Pankaj Bhai has done a wonderful job. Central Zone has taken lead, has been an inspiring force, and he has given an example how we have utilized this COVID-19 confined our home in the best possible manner, and it is his brain child which is there. So with all, thank you all once again. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Mahenji. It was a wonderful session and I think we all loved it. It was wonderful that he had covered all the queries. He had covered all the aspects of the VSVS. And I think nothing can be more clear than his PPT presentation. Friends, again, a request to you, please join our WhatsApp webinar group. Please join the YouTube and subscribe to it so that we can have a interaction and a direct contact with you. Friends, tomorrow we have a wonderful session on intellectual and property rights. It would be a session wherein all the nuances of intellectual property rights would be covered, and we will be having eminent personalities as the chairman of tomorrow's session. We are now, I would be requesting our chairman of today's session, Manish ji. I think he's not here. I would be taking over the queries directly. Mahendra Bhai, you are open, your mic is open, and you will be answering the queries. The first query from our own Hemant Mosab, AFTP Secretary of the Central Zone.
Sir, my question is, the SACS file declaration and communication has been received. Whether I am hello?
Yes, you are audible. Go on, sir.
SACS file declaration and department has issued the communication for accepting the declaration. The payment has to be made under section 5(2) within 15 days, which are under the lockdown period. How the period can be extended and the payment could be made?
Sir, this date has already been extended by this taxation laws amendment, this ordinance by 30th. So
but 5(2) has not been amended.
But then you kindly take help of the Supreme Court decision of say suo motu writ petition of the order dated 22nd of March, where all the limitations they have been made to a standstill. So stay has been granted till further order by the Supreme Court. If this 22nd March order is not with you, I may just send you on mail, and you may better refer to the article given by Dr. K. Shivram on the impact of that Supreme Court decision that is available on IKT online. You may refer that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. K.K. Ahuja.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Go on.
Sir, my query is, I received the assessment order on 5th March.
Sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, go on.
I received the assessment order on 5th March and thereafter I filed my appeal within time. Am I eligible for the VSV?
So I understand you got the order on 5th March 2020 and you wanted to order VSV, but I doubt because there is a big no, because on the cutoff date that is 31st January 20, there is no pendency of it.
But sir, in your deemed appeal portion, you stated that if I have time to file appeal as on 31st January 2020, so or thereafter, by that logic, I have time to file appeal.
Then maybe perhaps I'm missing the fact. The order might have been passed, say, on 5th of January 20.
Pardon?
Let us take a situation of your own case. I may presume that on 5th of January the order was passed. 5th of January 20.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You are referring to that fact, but you could got the order on 5th of March 20.
Yes, sir.
Now, I hope there must have been valid reason of delayed this 5th of March order, this delayed receipt of the order on 5th of March.
Because I got this certified copy from the AO.
Yes,
so
then
when he is providing certified copy,
yes, sir,
obviously it is after verifying the validation.
Let me complete.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm with you. Yes, in that scenario, we can say on cutoff date it was pending because in department own say portal that will show a pendency of this passing of the order on 5th of January, and that way on the cutoff date you were having the time available. In any case, now 5th of March is there. It is covered by both ways.
Thank you.
Whether you file the appeal, if 5th of March, then again you have gotten 30 days time. So in any case on the cutoff date, it is pending. So genuinely you can opt for VSV.
Mr. Neeraj Agarwal. Neeraj Agarwal is our executive member of the Central Zone, a very versatile practitioner from Jabalpur.
Garge ji, morning.
Sir, very good morning, please.
Garge ji, एक situation थी. There is a search was conducted. Yeah. Certain X amount was surrendered. Surrender amount attracts a penalty under section 271 AAA or 271 AAA-B. Okay. Now I have paid the entire taxes, what I have surrendered, paid the penalty, filed the return. AO has made certain additions. Against those additions, we are in an appeal. Now the matter is an appeal and the penalty proceeding has been kept in abeyance. So today I opt for the scheme. Will my penalty under section 271 AAA or 271 AAA-B will be waived or not?
Sir, I assume that on the cutoff date, this appeal against the quantum is already pending.
Yes, sir, it is pending. It is not covered by 115 BBE also.
Yes, sir. So the crucial question is whether there is a pendency of appeal or not on the cutoff date. And as you say that you have already filed an appeal against the such assessment making a higher addition than what you have declared. Yes, you will qualify opting for VSP. So far as the penalty aspect is concerned, this 271 AA or B, I will say that immunity should be granted to you because they should automatically go out of the scene once you have got the quantum dispute settled.
Sir, small
I hope you got my point.
Section 6 refers for tax arrears.
That refers to tax arrears.
And what I am saying, what I have surrendered, I have paid penalty for that.
Okay, you have already paid the penalty.
Because sir, it is a compulsory penalty. 271 AAA-B is a compulsory penalty.
10, 20 and 30. Yes.
Yes, sir.
But then you want to go out for VSB, no?
Because sir, that time the penalty was on the quantum of amount surrendered, and
right.
Afterward it has been changed to a quantum.
You mean to say that earlier the penalty proceedings were
We will have to cut down the discussion because the question and answers have to be taken in a crisp manner. No cross questions allowed.
I will be replying it separately through my email.
Dinesh Dwivedi ji. Mr. Dinesh Dwivedi.
Yes, hello.
Yes, go on.
I want to ask Gargia sir, whether CIT under section 260 has power to set aside the order of AO and refer back the same to the table of AO to decide as a fresh?
Sir, you mean to say CIT administration?
Yes.
Under section 263, I hope. Under
yes,
section
yes,
263, the CITFL and exercising his revisionary power, of course, he can he find the order, assessment order, administration and prejudicial to the interest of the revenue, he may set it back to the AO. Now, if he has already sent it, then whether you can opt for VSV or not, that may be a question. Perhaps you want to know. In that situation, that if you have gone in appeal before the ITAT appeal is pending of the cutoff date, we may say yes, but then it will depend upon how it has been sent back. One may be a situation where the CIT has decided the issues in principle and quantification, determination or taxes payable. The other is it has been sent back to be done afresh or de novo. So in second situation, it may be doubtful, even though appeal might have been filed before.
Okay, thank
but
you.
But still, it is open to debate, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sorry. Mr. Amrit Singh, you have to unmute your mic. Amrit Singh Malhotra.
Yes, sir.
Sir, go on with the query.
Sir, my query is whether interest not charged by the assessing authority while calculating the total tax payable at the time of assessment is also required to be mentioned under the relevant columns for the purposes of tax area in form number 1.
Sir, I will not touch that aspect because that is something premature. With all respect, we will have to wait for the clarification to come. There are so many similar type of situation and technical glitches while uploading the form. So for that, we have to. I think we should wait for the clarification to come.
Okay.
Mr. Arvind Shukla.
Sir.
Arvind ji is our National Vice President, North Zone. I welcome you, Arvind ji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. In my case, the appeal relates to assessment year 97-98, and after several lines of litigation, that ITAT has decided against me, and the appeal before High Court is pending. Now, yes, in the year 2011-12, the department has realized the tax and interest, everything. Now, if I go for Vivad Se Vitra scheme, what is the position of payment or refund or whatever?
Would you kindly repeat your query, sir? Would you kindly repeat your query?
My appeal is pending before High Court. My tax and interest has been recovered. The interest portion is much more than the tax.
Pankaj bhai, sound is not coming.
बोलिए अरविंद जी बोलिए
हमने अपना टैक्स और इंटरेस्ट सारा जमा कर दिया है, तो अब हम विवाद से विश्वास में यदि जाएंगे तो क्या हमको रिफंड मिलेगा या टैक्स जमा करना होगा?
He is asking for the refund, whether he will get the refund. Tax and interest has been deposited. महेंद्र भाई, are you there?
कोई बात नहीं, मैं बताया तो सर, टैक्स और इंटरेस्ट जो भी डिस्प्यूटेड में, जो इनका डिस्प्यूटेड टैक्स है ओनली, वो स्कीम में सेटल्ड हो जाएगा और इंटरेस्ट इनको रिफंड मिल जाएगा. इंटरेस्ट विल बी रिफंडेड टू यू.
Rajesh Mehta ji is a faculty on income tax, expert one on income tax. So Rajesh Mehta ji, जब तक महेंद्र जी नहीं जुड़ते, you are taking the queries. Yes. Mr. Rajiv Kumar Inani.
Sir, I have received my ITAT order on 15th of October 2019. 120 days has not lapsed as on 31st of January 2020 as per scheme VSVS. But the issue was based on facts only. there is no any question of law. So we were not supposed to go for High Court also, but now I want to go for VSVS as on 31st January. I am having the time of 120 days.
You can go into the Vivad Se Vishwas because your matter was covered under facts or covered under law. It has to be decided only by the High Court. We cannot decide that your case was pending only on the facts of the case. Your case may be covered under the question of law. So this will be decided by Honorable High Court, and the time to file the appeal before High Court has not expired. So you are qualified for Vivad Se Vishwas.
Mr. O.P. Shukla.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Mr. O.P. Shukla.
Bolo.
O.P. Shukla. I think he is not here. Then there is one Mr. Sanjay Kapoor. Oh, Advocate Dipesh.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Good morning. I have a little.
Yeah, you are audible. Please speak.
I have a little one question. One advocate has filed on behalf of a client an appeal, but till the appeal was pending, now the client wants to change the authorized representative or the advocate. Now I can proceed in the scheme of BSBS scheme on behalf of the client, and what are the procedure to be?
The appeal was pending. Whether there was any procedural mistake, this is not to be looked into. Either the appeal has been wrongly signed or wrongly filed by his authorized representative. So even if there is defect, but the appeal was filed and it was pending on 31st January, so you are qualified to go into the scheme. You can go.
Okay, Mr. Gargia is now also here.
I am facing here. So as Mehta Sahib has rightly pointed out, as I have cited dissent also, that here it is not to be seen whether the defect or appeal is competent or not.
So we have two experts, all participants, we have two experts today on the webinar, and both can answer your queries. So we will be continuing. Mr. Sankalp Pitalia.
Sir, my query is, if the SSE is having a favorable decision in respect of other SSE by the Rajasthan High Court, then whether the benefit of 50% is available for us or not.
Yes, precisely. That was the question, that issue I have also raised in my PPT, whether it should be the assessee's own case that criteria should be there, or it should be some other also as well. You will find in the provision, the word own is not there. They say that if the assessee has got a decision in its favor, this is what they say. They don't say that the assessee got a decision in own case.
Own case. Yes,
so
yes.
When a binding decision under their Rajasthan High Court is there that has attained finality, I think benefits of 50% should be extended in such a case. But
Kritika Jain.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Kritika Jain.
Yes, sir. So in one assessment year, the appeal was filed, but the department collected more than 20% of the amount. And in other assessment years, appeal was also filed, and we had already paid 20%. And in some assessment years, less than 20% was payable. So the refund due in the one assessment year, where the department has mistakenly collected the excess amount, can it be adjusted against the other things, sir? Other assessment years?
Again, this precise question, this issue I have also raised, that in case there is a refund under Section 5 determined in 1 year by the DA, and second there is a tax payable. Adjustment should be possible, but there is no clarity on that aspect. And we have to wait, and we have, I hope All India Federation, they have been taking up so many such issues before with the CBDT.
Padmanabh Dave.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Padmanabh Dave from Odisha.
It is Padmanabh Dave.
Yes, sir.
नमस्कार पंकज जी.
नमस्कार दवे साहब.
मेरी ये फॉर्म डिक्लेरेशन के ऊपर क्लैरिफिकेशन मांगनी है. शेड्यूल ए, डिक्लेरेशन में शेड्यूल ए है, उसमें बहुत शेड्यूल 1 to 10 दिए हैं. With regard to dispute tax, as it is said that 100% tax has to pay. बट वहाँ X and Y में कुछ 0.5 and 0.625 दिया है. ये क्या है?
Sir, as I have said that I have not touched upon this, and we have to wait. There are several issues coming up while uploading the form. Let us wait, and our AITF may also be taking up these issues with the CBDT.
Okay, sir. Okay. Achala Subramaniam. Achala Subramaniam. Achala Subramaniam. He is having some problem with the kid. So we will continue with him after some time. Mr. Smith Saurabh.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, as the scheme is available on the IT portal, sir, would you please guide us whether we shall go online or manually, sir?
It is to be filed online only. The forms are to be.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Abhishek Oswal.
Sir, good morning to everyone.
Yes, Abhishek. Go on, please.
Sir, my query is that as like we have filed an appeal before 31st of January 2020, and notice has been issued to us under 270A by the assessing officer before 31st of January 2020, and we have filed the reply, but the assessing officer has not passed any order on that. So what would be status on that?
Sir, once the appeal is pending on the cutoff date and you opt for the GST and it is then settled, then the consequential penalty should go, sir.
Matlab, we have to only deposit the tax amount, the penalty will be waived off.
The amount determined by the designated authority under section 5(1) that has to be deposited. Thereafter, the issue will be settled. Settled will be given to you. So that will grant you immunity under the section 5(3), that is section 6, with respect to penalties provisions.
Mr. Achala Subramaniam again. Sir, no cross questions, Abhishek ji.
Yes, sir. My problem is already solved, sir.
With the kid or with the kid or with the income tax?
No, with the income tax. It is already clarified.
Mr. Bhavalkar and Company from Ujjain. Bhavalkar and Company.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
My query is, my case is, my appeal is pending before CIT. In between the.
Your voice has gone, sir.
Voice gone. Voice has gone.
Your voice has gone, Mr. Bhavalkar. I think he lost the connection. We will take two more queries. Mr. Prabhu Dodamani. Mr. Prabhu Dodamani.
Hello.
Prabhu.
Hello.
Yeah, बोलिए. Mr. Bhavalkar, बोलिए. Yes, बोलिए.
My appeal is pending before CIT, and the department has collected the full amount from my bank account. Can I file the application in this scheme and got the refund from interest?
Certainly. What is to be seen on the cutoff date, your appeal is if it's pending, then whether you have made the payment or not, or whether fully or partly, that is not going to make any difference. In case excess payment has been made, then what designated authority has determined, you will be getting the refund and you are eligible for.
Thank you.
Mr. Prabhu Dodamani.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, go on, please, with the query.
Sir, my query is against whom search has been conducted and the assessment has been framed under section 153C. Can he avail the state scheme?
Yes, you can, provided that demand does not of DT does not exceed 5 crore rupees. If 150C that is there under section 9 may be referred. The exclusion is only when demand is DT is more than 5 crore. If it is below, you can offer and provided appeal is pending on the cutoff date.
Mr. Ravindram PN.
Yes.
Mr. Ravindram. Mr. Ravindram, are you hearing?
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
Oh, your voice is not clear.
Now? Hello?
Yeah, your voice is not clear. Please go on fast.
Sir, are you hearing?
No, please.
Yeah, go on. Say your query. I think he has a connection problem, so we will have to stop him. And almost all the queries had been answered. Thank you, Mahendra Bhai, for the wonderful session. Friends, again, to remind you, tomorrow again, 9:45 a.m., we'll have the webinar. It would be on IPR, a wonderful subject. It is a matter for all of you. All of your clients will be in contact with you about the nuances of it. Daily at 9:45 a.m., we will be meeting again and again, enriching our knowledge, having discussions, having queries, seeing our faces, and facing all the lockdown blues. Friends, we have a wonderful session with Mr. Mahendra Gargia. I had always told him that he's a wizard on income tax law, and you have now known why I always appreciate this man. He is such a wonderful speaker, clear in his mind, clear to the queries, pointed replies, and we thank you, Mahendra Bhai, for the wonderful session we had with you today. Friends, I think Mr. Rajesh Mehta, our National Vice President, would like to say something. He's also an expert. Rajesh Bhai, I have to unmute you. Rajesh Bhai, you have to say something.
Sir, thanks a lot to Mahendra ji for handling the session in such a nice manner and covering all the aspects of the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. And however, there are one more set of FAQ is going to be released from CBDT in forthcoming days. So some of the FAQs are also awaited, but however, it is a best scheme and we should advise our client that to avoid the litigation, they may decide to go and opt for the scheme. So thanks a lot for today's nice session.
Thank you. We had leading faculty persons joining today from all over India, east, west, north, south, central, and I thank you all. We will be there daily at 9:45 a.m. till 10th of May. We had extended this webinar series to 10th of May. Please, if you have any suggestions for topics or for any excellent speaker, send the same to my mobile or to Mr. Rajesh Mehta's mobile or Mr. Vinay Jolly's mobile. So we will be in touch with you. Friends, I welcome you all, and with this, have a good day. Join the webinar group, join the YouTube channel of AIFTP Central Zone, subscribe to the YouTube channel, because with your subscription, we will be starting the live streaming very shortly. And with this, have a fantastic day, have a nice day, enjoy the day. Thank you all. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow, 9:45 a.m. Bye-bye. I would be ending the meeting in 2 minutes' time.